I hacking love reacts. Well, you're in for a treat. I got a few minutes to kill. Let's get into it, shall we? The music will be annoying. Oh no. So, for context, let me introduce this as well. Howdy, people on the YouTube. We spent today waiting for this VOD, so we checked out a bunch of articles. We checked out a bunch of posts on WoW and whatnot. We saw some of the content creators tweet as they were live, and we were waiting for the VOD. Zark, thank you very much for subscribing. No VOD. Until we finally got a VOD, and then I was in the middle of a raid night, and I was like, well, dang, what do I do now? But turns out my raid night has a 30-minute break in between, as our tank has to go pick up the misses. So I got some time to kill, and we just entered a hype train, I think. So they automatically... They automatically got ads going. I'm just gonna play them. Here we go. Alright. I hope you can hear me alright. If not, let me know, yeah? The void is coming for your life. Do we have subtitles? Hopefully. Automatically generated. Oh, that's never a good...
Please join me in welcoming Ian Hazzikostas and Marie Hamilton for the World of Midnight. Give it up!
Makes... Aww, very cute.
Guten Tag und herzlich willkommen. Thank you, Gamescom.
Hallo. Guten Tag.
Thank you for coming out for this panel where we're going to talk about the world of Midnight. The story, the zones, the cultures, and the places.
I'm already annoyed by the music. Somebody did not do the music setting right. Is this what we've been waiting for all day long? Oh no. Oh no. Oh, happy to hear, Zark.
That you'll go. I'm Ian Hazzikostas, game director on WoW.
Hi, I'm Maria Hamilton, associate design director on WoW. I'm super happy to be here.
Yay!
And so today we're going to talk about story, cultures, delves, dungeons, and raids. So let me just kick things off with a quick recap of the stories so far. What brought us here?
Story time,
So
Svi.
we began the World
Thank
Salt
you.
Saga around a year ago and began telling the largest, most ambitious story we've ever tried to tell in World of Warcraft. It all began with whispers, visions that the champions of Azeroth were beginning to experience that ultimately led Thrall and Anduin, among others, to, a certain sword in a certain place.
What sword?
We investigated, we tracked those visions down, and ultimately they led us to the mysterious land of Khazalgar, where we deployed the floating city of Dalaran, and that didn't go so well. We were in fact ambushed by Xal'atath and her Nerubian allies, where Xal'atath wielded the Dark Heart artifact to drain the power of Dalaran, capturing Khadgar as well, and destroying the city. Over the course of our adventures, Xal'atath thwarted us several times, but Alleria was able to ultimately perceive the power and the importance of the Dark Heart. She struck out at it, damaging it. This
what did she do?
Dark Heart. Alleria was able to ultimately perceive the power and the importance of the Dark Heart.
Perceive the power and the importance of the Dark Heart. No, like we already knew that the Dark Heart was important. That was the whole thing. But okay, I'm sure.
She struck out at it, damaging it. This severely disrupted Xal'atath's plans, as well as freeing Khadgar. He was mortally wounded, but Anduin was able to step in and save him.
Oh, mortally wounded, by the way. Not resurrected, mortally wounded. Oh, I thought Anduin resurrected his ass. Okay. As in, not Xal'atath is the issue, but her using the Dark Heart. Yeah, but that was never the question, though, Uvalo, was it? We knew from the very beginning that the Dark Heart was an issue. We knew that in Dragonflight already. It's not like Alleria had an epiphany during the questline, like, oh, shit. Maybe that trinket that she's carrying around and using on everything is important. Maybe if we shoot that, things will happen.
Disruption led Xal'atath to seek out the aid of one Gallywix. Now, the Dark Heart is this incredibly powerful artifact, originally crafted by Neltharion with the aid of the goblins. So who better than some goblins to repair the damage? But she should have found some more trustworthy goblins, because Gallywix, of course, had a plan of his own. And the Dark Heart ended up falling into the hands of Shadowguard Ethereals, who aimed to use it to bring back the Void Lord Demencius. A threat so great that it even forced Xal'atath to set aside her goals and work with us for a time to stop his rise and the inevitable devouring of all worlds. Now, we have defeated Demencius, at least on story mode, Raid Finder, Normal, and Heroic. I think Echo is actually working on Mythic around 25 minutes from here right now. So is Method and Liquid. But would you believe that upon Demencius's defeat, Xal'atath was not, as it turns out, on our side. And so she claimed the power of the Void Lord Demencius, ascended to become one of the most powerful beings the cosmos has ever known.
Whoever mixed this audio, whoever you are, why did you do it in such a way that doesn't even line up with what he's telling? Like, he's talking about a deep, dark moment in the storyline, and it's the fucking epic music of everything is fine and dandy. And second of all, what is up with this audio level? Is it that bad that they recorded? Like, did it just go wrong? Also, Xal'atath is one of the most powerful beings the cosmos has ever known, which is fucking sick, which also makes me wonder, what is she up to? What does she want?
And now, as we move into midnight, she is set to launch an assault that will plunge our world into darkness, that will extinguish all light unless we stand against it.
All right, well, let's
They
start
said it
off
on the
talking about
Void
our-
Lord, not Xal'atath.
Ascended to become one of the most powerful beings, Void Lord upon Demencius'
No. Listen at the, read the subtitles.
defeat. Xal'atath was not, as it turns out, on our side. And so she claimed the power of the Void Lord Demencius, ascended to become one of the most powerful beings the cosmos has ever known.
She has ascended.
And now, as we move into midnight, she is set to launch an assault that will plunge our world into darkness, that will extinguish all light unless we stand against it.
All right, well, let's start off talking about our heroes and our foes. So starting off, we've got Turalyon, Erator, and Ilaria. We've been following Ilaria's journey for a bit here. We know Erator and Ilaria.
Oh god, he looks... Oh god, Arator, what have they done to you, buddy? Holy sh... Oh god, Arator, I'm so sorry. Is he in his edgy face?
We've been following Ilaria's journey for a bit here. We know about her feelings about Xal'atath, and she was right all along. We also have Turalyon, her husband, who will be an important part of Midnight as a representative of the light. So at the very end of the cinematic there, when we see the light coming in response to Liadrin's prayer, the army of light has arrived, and so have the players. We also will be called by the light to come and join that battle.
So this was something that we talked about earlier today, which was also confirmed online. I think Telias and Avatel also tweeted about it. We were wondering, like, okay, what exactly was summoned out of the gateway? Was it perhaps the Arafi Empire? Was it like, I don't know, Envina? But here they confirm they've summoned in the Army of the Light. And they were also talking about Turalyon. I just uploaded like an hour ago a video on the YouTube page where we go over a highlight of earlier today where we talk actually what is the Army of the Light, how is it connected. Christy Golden's book that's coming up with Illyria, Turalyon, Arator in there. It's up on the channel if you're interested. So yeah, that's what comes out of the portal. And we as well. Kind of makes me wonder, like, are we going to be ported in as well? That's kind of cool.
Erator, of course, is their child. He also is a paladin, and he is very supportive and understanding of both of his parents. He's trying to understand the void influences that Ilaria is dealing with, as well as the strong call to light that his father has. So he's a little bit in the middle of the two. So they are very important to our story. And of course we have Xal'atath. Couldn't go very far without Xal'atath, our very cool villain. She seems to do whatever she needs to do to achieve whatever her goal is. She's now stated what her goal is. She's gonna wipe us off the planet. She's gonna take Azeroth. She's gonna take all the power for herself and bring down Midnight.
Maria, when did Xal'atath say this? Did she do that at Gamescom? God, that is new information for me. I mean, I love that you're telling me, but...
Xal'atath, our very cool villain, she seems to do whatever she needs to do to achieve whatever her goal is. She's now stated what her goal is. She's going to wipe us off the planet. She's going to take Azeroth. She's going to take all the power for herself and bring down Midnight. So looking forward to seeing what's happening with Xal'atath. Wasn't really expecting the Army of Light to show up there, as you could tell. She seemed a little surprised, but she's got plenty of forces and she's very powerful at this point. We also have a Liadrin.
She seemed happy about it, to be honest. But that was kind of the vibe I got from the cinematic. Like, Xal'atath seems happy, like it fits in her plans. Like, oh shit, yeah, that's what I expected. But okay, apparently she did not expect this. Okay, my hope, the story is not known, it's just a presentation, but my hope is still very much that Xal'atath is more than just another bad guy we're gonna defeat with the Army of the Light. Fingers crossed, team.
She is she's the Blood Knight matriarch. She's obviously a very powerful paladin. She's the one who has called upon the light to come and save the day. And she is going to be very important to our efforts to push back the void. She does not have a strong liking for the Amani trolls, and that will become important. We have Orwena, who we met back in the War Within, the Heronir. We met a few of them, not a lot. And as you probably know, we'll be going and seeing more about their culture and their race. Orwena is going to have an opportunity to teach us about her people and what they care about, what their interests are, their culture. And she is one of the youngest of her race, actually. She is not an elder. There are elder Heronir, much more knowledgeable and wise. She follows the voice of her goddess, and that has taken her into places that we have been able to find her at last.
Oh my, yeah. I had the question as well, and yes, a smile is husband hotel, ain't it? Like, a smile is a powerful weapon as well. Fair enough. But it's just the question of, okay, why was Xal'atath playing with her food at the Sunwell when she has obviously the power to, like, just make people kneel? We spoke about it earlier today as well. It could just be a case of it's fun to be overpowered and make them grovel, right? Then I had the question about why was Liadrin praying in such a way and why did she feel unworthy? This falls back into the history of the Blood Knights and the draining of the Naru. We've done a video, or I've done a video. I should not talk about plural myself, eh? Done a video talking about, like, the Midnight story and about the cutscene and whatnot, where we also touch upon, okay, you know, the history of sucking out the light of a Naru, making it the dark void in Tropius, and then reigniting the Sunwell, and Liadrin still feels a guilt towards that. And when it comes to the Hardenir, I've been asked, like, okay, what goddess are they talking about? And there is a cutscene with Orwena in the War Within, in which she tried to figure out, like, Azeroth tried to talk to her, and we had to figure out, like, oh, we need to go to the Undermine. So she goes through a cutscene, a ritual in order to communicate. And in it, she says, like, goddess, talk to me. And there's, like, the big orb that is Azeroth, right? Like, similar orb that we saw at the very beginning of the War Within. So if you're asking me, I would say their goddess is Azeroth.
We have Umbric and the Void Elves. This is an opportunity for the Void Elves to really come into their own. Having been banished essentially from Silvermoon and their kin essentially because of the void taint that they feel that they have. Umbric is obviously trying to pull his people together, and he has a lot to contribute to our efforts to face off against the void.
He's looking shiny, our boy Umbric. Also those abs. I need those abs. I want those abs.
We have Zul'jara and Zul'jan, grandchildren of Zul'jin. Zul'jara is the chieftain of the Amani. Zul'jan is her greatest advisor and brother. They are going to be giving us an opportunity to experience the Amani culture, not as enemies this time, but as sort of friends. They too are having slight void problems, and they need some assistance. Needless to say, the Blood Elves are uninspired by that request, as they aren't on best of terms. Giving us an opportunity.
Hang on, I want to see the brother again.
And Zul'jan, grandchildren of Zul'jin. Zul'jara is the chieftain of the Amani. Zul'jan is...
So my guess was going to be that the brother Zul'jan was going to be very much like his grandfather, Zul'jin, as in, I spit on the horde, go F you all, and that the sister was going to be the wiser one, the one that's willing to listen, but that's a stab in the dark. To the question, was Quel'thelas founded on troll lands? Is this something you want resolved? We always killed the Amani for no reason. Might is right in the Warcraft history, and in the case of the Troll Wars, the Blood Elves or the High Elves at the time defended their lands and claimed the kingdom. Otherwise, a lot of the kingdoms in Warcraft had to hand over their lands back to the trolls. So in my mind, that is somewhat resolved with the Troll Wars. But of course, there's a long history between the Amani and the High Elves / Blood Elves. A long history with signing up with the First Horde, with trying to take the lands, with even when the Sunwell was corrupted that they attacked. The torture, the interrogation, Zul'jin, the Zul'aman. There is a lot of history and bad blood. That is also why Liadrin is like, work together with the Amani. Are you crazy? So that's a lot of stuff that they can dive into there. A lot of lore to go into. Bring back my boy Vol'jin is what I'm saying. And then there's also the part about the darkness. There's a Kafrax that was under Zul'aman. Most likely that one is going to be playing a part going forward.
Her greatest advisor and brother. They are going to be giving us an opportunity to experience the Amani culture, not as enemies this time, but as sort of friends. They too are having slight void problems, and they need some assistance. Needless to say, the Blood Elves are uninspired by that request, as they aren't on best of terms. And then we have the Void and the Light, arguably the biggest conflict here between two forces. The Void we have been fighting against, the Light we have been fighting with. But, you know, extremes of either are problematic, as you might imagine. Sure. So there will be some issues between the two, and also issues between people that are Void-based, like Void Elves, and the Army of the Light Paladins, for example. So that's another important sort of contrast to watch during Midnight.
I like that. There's also the connection between Illyria and Turalyon, like the Void and the Light, in those two side of things. Interesting concept to play around with, and as they mentioned, like, we've always seen that Zealots are extreme. Like, if you go too far into the Void, that's bad, but if you're like a Void Elf, that works out. If you become a Scarlet Crusader, that is bad, but if you're a Paladin, you're like Noble and blah, blah, blah. In a similar vein with, like, using the powers of our enemies, like the Warlocks, like the Death Knights. And as we've seen on a cosmic scale, like the Naru Zera, for example, you might imagine the light all holy and pure and good. But, you know, go look at Zera v Illidan, and you're like, well, that's kind of demanding.
And now let's look at the really pretty pictures. Go into the culture and zones. So our first culture to talk about is Blood Elves. Those of you that don't play Horde may not know a lot about the Blood Elves. This is your opportunity to rectify that. They were High Elves before adopting the name Sin'dorei to represent and reflect upon the death of so many of their own. The
gorgeous.
Scourge,
the update looks so good.
Did a terrible number on their home area in Eversong and Ghostlands, and they have been recovering ever since. Their need for power, their need for energy and magical strength is well known. They are very, very tied to the Sunwell, which is, of course, exactly what Xal'atath is going after. Here's some pre-alpha footage for you.
Sorry, what was that?
Very, very tied to the Sunwell, which is, of course, exactly what Xal'atath is going after.
To unleash midnight and darkness.
Here's some
and claim the soul.
pre-alpha footage for you that we just captured a couple weeks ago. Want to point out that there's not a lot of creatures spawned yet because, as I said, we're pre-alpha. But it's looking really good. It's exactly like what you might expect from Eversong.
Looking gorgeous, 100%.
Eversong and Ghostlands have been combined into a single zone, Quel'thelas. Because it's a relatively small zone. They were small zones back in Classic. And now with Skyriding, we want it to feel fun to move through them. But as you can see, you know, it's the usual sorts of architecture that you would expect. The lofty, glistening towers, the amazing foliage and manicured gardens. And there are some things that have healed. The Dead Scar in particular has totally healed and is no longer there. Not all parts of the zone, however, have healed up. There are still some areas that look a little bit iffy, this being one of them.
I don't know how I feel about the Dread Scar being healed. On the one hand, time moves on. On the other hand, it kind of felt like an eternal scar upon their race, like something not best forgotten. But if they're talking about not everything is healed quite yet, I'm curious to see how that's going to take shape. Also, the question that I don't know if they've answered yet is, are they going to completely revamp the Blood Elf starting leveling experience? Are they going to time it? As in, are they going to lock it away in its own little pocket dimension and you'll phase out of it, similar to like Teldrassil, where you can still level as a Night Elf? Or is this with the intent of everybody gets a complete new experience at the beginning? Quite curious about that. There should be a memorial. I mean, there's going to be a memorial square. They did mention that. The history of the Dread Scar is basically... you remember how Arslan the Scourge walked up to Silvermoon in the Sunwell to resurrect Quel'thelas? Basically, that undead march like corrupted the land and it like left a scar behind as they walked across it. That is the history there. It's the path that they walked into Silvermoon, the High Home of the High Elves, and all that destruction. Yes, Zay's there. A couple of minutes. What I'm paused here as well, by the way. Look at the flowers and the trees and whatnot. There's going to be something called a Dawnwell, and there's going to be nature rising up in order to try and claim Silvermoon, and we got to see and how that works out, and I got to stop it. It's definitely a long time ago. Yeah, but it's like, you know.
Essentially, it's the same place you're used to if you're a Blood Elf. If not, here's your opportunity to check it out. Check out the zone. Reimagining it was super fun for us. Artists had a great time. Had the opportunity to make it just a little bit bigger, a little bit better, and increase the fidelity of the zone. Hope you'll enjoy it. We're going to move on now. And this is Silvermoon City. It is enormous. I would say that because it's a hub city, there's a small section of Silvermoon that's been set aside as a sanctuary area where Horde and Alliance share that space. But the majority of the city is Horde. And, Alliance is kill on sight, as you would expect. Essentially, our world building team had a wonderful time. It's all new assets. The city walls are all brand new.
Wow.
Everything has been remade. We've got places you'll recognize. You should feel real nostalgia if you've had any experience here. We have Murder's Row, which you're going to see a dungeon related to that as well. But overall, it's the same glorious, wonderful Silvermoon you love, but with much, much better, much more recent fidelity art.
Looks fantastic.
And once this stuff gets filled in with our spawning, it's going to look amazing. And yeah, there's a little void storm problem going on. And let's talk about the Amani, because they're the next culture we're going to want to talk about. They were previously enemies. If you happen to be around and played the raid in Zul'aman, then you're familiar with the Amani and sort of their culture. We've had an opportunity to expand them because we created an entire zone for them now. They are very proud people. They worked very hard to get their land. They had some important work to do. The Zandalari basically said, well, you can have that land if you defeat this, giant, evil, horrible thing. And so they did that. And they were a great empire for a period of time, but they've fallen sort of into a lesser status now. They've sort of lost their touch with the Loa. They're not as close to them. Being right on the border and having a lot of conflict with the Blood Elves makes this a little tricky for them. They too are having some void problems. This is
the picture, by the way, if you're wondering what they were talking about, they have a void problem. We've seen this in the press kit. They are available online as well. There's one shot with basically the Void Storm, and I'll edit it in for the VOD if I'm putting this up on YouTube. But the Void Storm, it's like the eye of the storm. It is such a gorgeous, beautiful picture. And even from Zul'aman in the distance, you can see it from far away that there is still the void in the air. It's insane.
Zul'aman, we've built the entire zone out. You will see the raid space. It still exists. Those of you that did that raid will recognize those buildings, I expect. This is a very old forest, very tall mountains. It's temperate. It rains a fair bit. It's got eagle, lynx, Janalai. It's got dragonhawk, bear, Loa, temples still, but the Amani haven't been really worshipping the Loa for a long time. A lot of stuff is overgrown and abandoned, and Zul'jara is going to need to find a way to help her people survive the void onslaught that is coming for them. As you can see where the void has come in, it's not looking quite so good. And let's move on to the Heronir. So we met the Heronir early on in the War Within, but we weren't really sure what they were about. We didn't know their story, and we didn't know their connection really to the rest of the world. We'd never seen them before.
Sure.
They're ancient guardians of the Rootways, and they're led actually by a council of elders. They have a very direct connection with their goddess, and Orwena has a very strong direct connection, in fact, with the goddess, which led her to leave her people and go out into the outside world, something that they don't tend to do and they don't really look kindly upon. So, as you probably have heard, they are unlocked as an allied race. You'll be able to make your very own Heronir. We're going to have great customizations for them. They look pretty awesome. I have to say, I've seen the Druid forms. We weren't able to show those yet. They are really awesome. One of them is a pangolin, which just looks amazing. They are prone to wearing this bioluminescent paint, and they have different...
Sorry, I don't know how to turn it off. Hang on.
Different kinds of patterns they can put on their faces and chests. So, really cool looking, really awesome. Not really elves, not really trolls. Those of you that have kind of seen them previously, played in the War Within, know that they take a bat form when they want to travel. So that's the Heronir and their customizations.
About the Heronir, by the way, and sorry, I'm in the middle of a raid as well. This was very much in between. We had our tank go away for a little while, so I was like, I got a little bit of time to kill. And then there's pings, and there's like a countdown, and I need to help Soak right here. I got this, don't worry about it. But what I want to say about the Heronir is that they are a race introduced in the War Within, and even back in the War Within, we were already very much speculating, like, ooh, are we going to do life lands? Are we going to do root lands? What is going on here? The Heronir look awesome. Are we going to make them playable? And right now, they seem to be doing a lot more with them. Oh, God, shut up. I don't want you to yell at me. Right now, it seems to be the time that they're actually going to be added, and we're actually going to do something with them. The goddess, as we mentioned earlier, is potentially Azeroth, as she does mention in a cutscene where she's
Hammer
like...
of Light.
She's... Sorry, everybody. I'll turn off weak auras in a moment. She is communicating with someone, and she is like... She's doing a vision where she talks to Azeroth.
Hammer of Light.
Stop it! Lizard. She is talking to Azeroth, and she's trying to communicate. She's trying to figure out, what do we do? We need to go to Undermine, like there's rumbling underneath the earth. What do you want us to do? And she says, like, goddess, talk to me. So we're talking about, like, what goddess does she mean? I'm thinking most likely it's going to be Azeroth, right? But something's happening there. And the reason why Orwena came out of the shadows, the reason why she joined us back in Ashkahet, is because they feared what a Xal'atath and the Nerubians were up to. Like that whole black blood dealings, that was like no good. And so she broke protocol. And even though it's against what the people normally do, they were very much like, oh, Orwena, you are the most badass, you're the coolest. But now in the presentation, they also mention like... we have elders, and most likely the elders will just simply not understand Orwena. They do not understand the way of the new world, okay? All people suck, the new kids rule, so Orwena is going to show them that there's more to life than just sitting there and guarding the roots. They should spread their wings, and they should be part of the world, and if this is the world worth saving, then most likely Orwena is going to argue, like, we need to be part of their world. That would be my guess on that storyline. Alright, so let me just drop a bomb real quick on the edge. Yeah, sure, I'll immune it. Why not? There we go. Immune. Let me turn off weak auras, because you're all going to go crazy if it yells during the presentation. Sorry about that. Weak auras goes off. Reloading. I'm being pushed back. No! Alright, let's go in.
And this is the zone, Herondar. It is a fungal jungle place.
Fungal jungle
and
hype.
It has all of the roots of the world trees all converge here, all are twisted up in this area, this pocket area, which isn't really directly connected to anything. The people, the Heronir travel through the rootways themselves.
Hammer of Light.
So they're able to move around the world. One of the interesting things about this zone is it has a place called the Rift of Aln. And from the Rift of Aln,
Hammer
will
of
issue
Light.
forth creatures that their goddess dreams. And sometimes they are horrific and horrible things.
Hammer of
And
Light.
Some members of the Heronir take an oath, give up their connection to the goddess, and serve as wardens of that place, preventing those horrible creatures from attacking. They also
That kind of reminds me of, and I think they also mentioned something in the direction of the Rift of Aln. Kind of reminds me of like the Emerald Nightmare. There's also going to be a singular raid boss, like an amalgamation, a being that should not be, which is going to be playing as part as well. So that sounds interesting. They give up their worshipping of the goddess in order to safeguard them against those nightmares. Cool. Oh, I want to get to know them now.
I have this place called the Den of Echoes, which we're looking at now. This is where the Heronir remember their past through paintings, and you will have an opportunity to learn some of those stories by interacting with those paintings.
Sweet.
And let's talk a little bit about the Void, since we also have that as a culture.
Void!
See people you recognize on one side, and people you probably recognize less on the other side.
I see a Void mount right there.
Void creatures in general are very predatory. They are interested in eating anything smaller and weaker than themselves and taking that power. The Dominar, which are sort of the strongest, are a bit different. They are very, very intelligent, very smart. And the Dominar actually have a bit of a hierarchy that they've developed, again, through conquest, through beating on and dominating others. And you will deal with Dominar as one of the stronger representatives of the Void. Of course, Xal'atath is part of this group. Cultists who follow Xal'atath and follow the Void.
Cool.
We've already seen the Shadow Guard as well. There's even cute little ones, but they will try to eat you, so don't think that they're all that cute. And this is Voidstorm. This is a mysterious world that has been formed by the Void. Everything here is hungry. Everything will eat you, given...
Since when are the Void orderly? The Void has shown to have perfectly fine intelligence and way to plan and whatnot. There are beings like the Old Gods, or there are beings from the Void that are very chaotic in nature. They are part of like more on the chaotic scale of things. But there have definitely been plots and schemes and plans from the Void and all that, as well as working together when need be. So in this case, we're looking at like a hierarchy, apparently. Of course, it kind of falls into play with like, what is Xal'atath up to? What has she been doing? What is her goals? And how does she work? Most definitely the option of Void smarter than that. Yeah.
An opportunity. This is all about gaining power, becoming stronger, becoming more powerful, and eating the next thing.
This reminds me a lot of Final Fantasy, by the way.
Essentially, we have a big raid here in Voidstorm. This is where we will face off against the Void with the Army of Light and attempt to make sense of what's going on here. But there are some gorgeous pictures. I would say the best blues and purples ever, probably, happening right here. But generally speaking, a really, really cool zone to explore.
It looks cool, though.
And you can be pretty sure that they're enemies, all of them. All right, and I'm going to hand off to Ian for delves, dungeons, and raids. Thanks, all.
Woo! Thank you, Maria. Woo!
Thank you, Maria. Yeah, all those amazing zones that you just saw, of course, are going to contain delves, dungeons, and raids. So really, delves are one of our proudest additions to War Within, and they are, of course, here to stay. And so you have 10 new delves coming with Midnight, scattered across these zones. I think we've learned a lot of lessons. We've taken feedback on what worked and what didn't. And so these are going to have all the same layers of variety and replayability that you knew in the War Within, but more layouts, more enemies that we found work better in this format, and less of those that don't. A couple of these delves are actually going to be outdoor spaces where you can use your ground mounts to get around more easily. And we're really happy to be able to integrate them into the stories of the zones, because now that they're such a proven format, we can really have quests lead you through them more regularly. Now, of course, in addition to these 10 delves, there is an 11th Nemesis delve, where you will track down the Nemesis that has been plaguing you over the course of the first season.
Is it the Voldemort one?
Taking the place of Bran Bronzebeard will be a new companion, none other than our good friend Valeera Sanguinar.
Yeah.
Now, she will aid you in many of the same ways as Bran, and hopefully stand in fewer things that you'd prefer she not stand in.
Just make her sassy,
dungeons.
okay?
We have 8 new dungeons coming in Midnight, 4 level up, 4 max level. And again, these, we always try to showcase fun gameplay and innovative looks at the dungeon format. We'll be returning to Magister's Terrace, which has really been reimagined and expanded from last we saw it. We'll visit some new locations that weren't accessible before, including a balcony overlooking the Sunwell itself. When we go to Murder Row, a corner of Silvermoon, I think for Court of Stars fans back from Legion, there's some of those vibes here, as we're actually going in undercover to investigate rumors of the use of fell magic within the walls of Silvermoon.
Oh my god, great heavens! Oh, I do say fell use in my Silvermoon. Why, warlocks and demon hunters, get out of here. Fell in my beloved city. You know what you should be investigating? My beloved Silvermoon, which I am so curious if it's going to make it through the revamp. How about your sweatshop? Your Leopardome sweatshop that has survived the purge, that has survived the fruit skill removal, there's still a sweatshop right now in Silvermoon. You could go visit it right now if you want. Free my Leopardomes is what I'm saying.
And before we know it, we're going to be plunged into combat, and the dungeon will unfold from there. Another favorite is the Void Scar Arena in the Voidstorm.
Yeah, there's literally a sweatshop
of one of the Dominar that Maria was just mentioning. Combatants from around the universe come together to kind of battle to the death for the pleasure of the Dominar, and we're going to be thrown into that arena as part of this dungeon. And don't worry, especially in Mythic Plus, as waves come at you, you can control the pace of the waves. Of course,
you can control the pace of the waves. Oh, okay. So I was kind of thinking, like, it's going to be like Dalaran Prison, but I'm actually quite curious how that arena is going to look. It sounds very creative where you can go.
We're going to have a mix of 4 of these dungeons, as well as 4 returning fan favorites in the first season of Midnight. But unlike in War Within, all 8 of these dungeons will be available in Mythic 0 during that pre-season period right at launch. Another fun dungeon that we'll be venturing into is Windrunner Spire, where for those of you, particularly lore fans out there, we're going to get to learn more about the family history and the tragic background of the Windrunner family.
Vrisa get a part to play?
With plenty of mysteries to uncover.
Are the legends true? Will Vrisa get a part to play? We're going to learn more about the Windrunner history. Does Sylvanas make a return? Is it just going to be Illyria? I mean, if they give Vrisa's story, I'm going to go lose my... Wait, where did the audio go? Wait, is that on my end?
For those of you, particularly, lore fans out there, we're going to get to learn more about the family history and the tragic background of the Windrunner family. This is a wing dungeon with plenty of mysteries to uncover.
The video is broken. Dear Blizzard, I love that you have something going on at Gamescom. I really do. I think it's awesome that we can have like a mini BlizzCon away from it all. As we do another countdown. Hang on, hold.
Also be the Dream Rift, a one-boss raid in Harrenarth.
Ian responds to the Ian responds to the countdown. He's like, "Oh shit, we're pulling."
And then shortly after that, we'll be able to take the fight back to the Sunwell and the Gates of Silvermoon in the March on Quel'thelas. So really excited to have different environments, different settings, and really integrate the raids into the stories that we're telling more than ever before. because with story mode, all players can experience these epic moments, and we can offer a wider range of environments for guilds to challenge themselves against.
From day one?
So
Or are
that
they
is a
gonna delay
quick
it
look
again?
at the world, the setting, and what's coming in Midnight. Thank you, Gamescom.
Okay, so what I'm kind of curious about is he mentioned story mode for raiding, but are they like currently story mode for raiding is locked behind a day? So I'm kind of curious, like, will we see the removal of that day delay, and will they actually open it up straight from the get-go? Or are they going to keep it as is right now? They said story mode will be open straight from the get-go. I read it somewhere, MMO Champion. That makes me incredibly happy. Really hope that's going to be the case. Because they did say, like, this is experimental for the War Within. So I'm hoping that that is indeed going to be the case going forward, because I don't see a reason why they want to delay it further. People get spoiled on the internet anyways. If it's my job at Blizzard to really hammer home that we need to have regular BlizzCons, I would have done this expansion review exactly like it's done right now. You think there's a big plan behind it, yeah? I mean, to be fair, I kind of feel like... And I've read this comment on the internet as well. Like, it kills people's hype that they had to get breadcrumbs here and there for information. From content creators, from Wowhead, from a GameSpot, from a here, from a there. My recommendation for next time, if this is going to happen this way, put a fucking embargo on it until you've done your presentation. That way, yes, those articles support what you're telling instead of you after the fact. Because a lot of this information was already known from these little breadcrumbs. And it's just not exciting to get the information that way. And it's really annoying to just have to gather it all. Like, for me, I'm a content creator. It's fine. I'm doing it anyways. But I can understand for somebody who just wants to know, like, okay, what is the next expansion going to be about? It's a pain in the ass, right? But, back to the presentation. What major things did we learn? Well, we learned that it was the Army of the Light that they summoned out of the gateway, Ritualian, and potentially us as well. We already saw in the gameplay trailer that there is more defenders there besides those that we see in the cutscene. Like, there's going to be, I imagine, the Philistra, there's going to be the Nightborn, like Voltois and whatnot. And people have asked, like, why weren't they part of the cutscene? And I think that's because they want to make this moment about the Blood Elves. Like, this is a big moment for the Blood Elves. They've been waiting for their Silver Moon revamp for a very long time. It's going to be Windrunner Spire. There's going to be a lot of Elf storyline, like a lot of Blood Elf storyline here. And the revamp looks absolutely gorgeous. Then for the motivation of Xal'atath, I don't want to say it worries me, but I'm starting to wonder if I maybe have built it up a bit too much in my own head. Because the way that they describe Xal'atath just seems to be like the next bad guy that we've always had. Like, yeah, they've come, they're gonna unleash darkness upon the world, and she's gonna do bad things for the sake of bad things. It seems the way that they describe her seems to be yet another. And there's a voice in the back of my mind that's like, nah, that's just how they tell it because they want to, you know, wink, wink. There's going to be more to her. And obviously, we haven't seen any of the story yet. So that's the whole Midnight campaign. We're going to learn her secrets and whatnot. So for now, let me huff on my copium and just go, this is how they present it because they want to give us a twist. They want to give us that expectation. And then in-game is going to be like, ha, you thought Xal'atath was just a big baddie, unleashing the next big baddie? Nah. She actually has things going. I mean, they can say it any other way, which is they could do this presentation and then finish it with the line of, or so it seems. Or so it looks like right now, but who knows what Xal'atath is really doing. We are going to find out her secrets in Midnight. I just want Ian to wink at me, is what I'm saying. She has to reunite with Riddercron? Not really. Her deal with Riddercron is that she's going to give him vengeance upon the Titans, like call down the Titans. That's all she really needs to do. So if the Titans come down, Riddercron's still going to be happy, right? The Blizzard articles say that we're going to unfold her secrets. Exactly. So for now, like, we haven't seen the story yet. For now, I'm definitely going to hold on to the idea of wait until. We'll see. It's only the presentation as of yet, but we're going to find out. So the Sunwell, we've gotten Xal'atath. Bit of details on the Harnir with the Elderly Council. We're going to see how that's going to play out. Then there's the idea of the Amani trolls that are going to be our allies, but there is going to be that conflict, that old history between the Blood Elves and the Amani that's not instantly forgotten. The darkness. That's gonna be playing a part. The Void Storm is Xal'atath's base of operations, and we gotta go in there, and we gotta go, like, find a way in there, and gonna stop her. And Iridikron is... So, a lot of people have been asking, like, where is Iridikron? And if I remember right from the cutscene, he tells us, like, when the Titans arrive, or I'm gonna be waiting for the Titans. That's his... Iridikron's whole deal was that he was pissed off at the Titans. And so Veranov is like, you're dealing with the Void, what are you doing? That's crazy. And he's like, crazy? I've been crazy once, but there's nothing crazy about me allying with the Void, because she's gonna give me my shot at the Titans. And when they come back, I'm gonna be ready. You know, I'm gonna do it. And Iridikron's character is very much... This is also written up in, like, War of the Scaleborn. He is a tactician, he's a slow burner, he is like, wait and see, I got my plans, my ploys. Don't worry, I got this, right? So... It falls in line that he is very much like, you know, I wanna... hold on to it and we'll wait for the Titans for the right moment. So that's what I imagine Iridikron to come into play. Void Hierarchy. Beyond that, we've seen a lot already during today's presentation as well, like the articles and whatnot. So it's cool to see the Midnight Developer panel. And Saturday we're going to get a deep dive into the systems, which I'm kind of curious about. Like the systems, this was like a story presentation, a setting presentation, an overall... this is what we got cooking for the content and for your questing and for your leveling. But obviously, there's the question as to what are we going to be doing in the game itself? What are we going to do for playing? And a big selling point for the War Within was the delve system that they added and like warbands and whatnot. What we know is that there's going to be player housing, but we're going to get there before midnight. But there's going to be player housing, so that opens up a lot of collecting and decorating. I'm really happy to hear that player housing is going to have loadouts like talents. That's fucking nice. Then there's going to be, I mean, the regular, we say regular, but there's going to be the stuff about delves, dungeons, and raids that we're going to get. They're going to do something with dragon riding. They're going to make some updates there. I'm kind of curious why, because for me, dragon riding or sky riding feels perfect right now, but they're going to make some updates there. Wondering if we're going to see the Galagio turn into, like, a golden saucer. Wonder if we're going to see the race car mode from the Goblins make an appearance somewhere else in the world where we're actually going to get, like, more car races. And then there's the praise system. And I'm wondering, like, okay, what is this praise system about? Like, to me, it just seems like a rare spawn now has a chance to pop up and... That's it, but we're going to find out. As well as, like, okay, how are they going to develop Midnight going forward? Like, what is the new jam for Delves? Oh, sorry, what is the new jam for Mythic Plus? Because Mythic Plus has kind of been... I mean, I don't want to call it stagnating. Like, the new Mythic season actually a lot of fun to play through. But it's not been massively innovative. So I'm kind of curious, like, okay, what are we going to do with the Mythic Plus? Then for the Delves, with a Valera next to us. Like, Valera can throw potions, so she can heal. She's already a damage dealer. And as a rogue, as we saw in Season of Discovery, he can most definitely tank as well. Mind you, we're going to raid for a little bit. Hang on, team.
About this zone is, it has a place called the Rift of Uln. And from the Rift of Uln will issue forth creatures that their goddess dreams. And sometimes they are horrific and horrible things. And some members of the Heronir take an oath.
Right, that's that part. Okay, so I need to Google this, because we heard this. And I saw pictures on this. I was like, what the fuck do you mean Rift of Uln? Isn't that in the Emerald Dream? I'm pretty sure it is. Rift of Uln. Let's see. The Rift of Uln is a vast, deep fissure in a small corner located deep within the Emerald Dream, from which it is thought by the Druids that the dream itself originated. The Druids also believe that it bleeds into the Twisting Nether and the Great Dark Beyond. Adventurers enter the rift through a vision of Lake Elunara in the Emerald Dream's counterpart of Moonglade. Right, and it is the spot where Malfurion was able to push the Emerald Nightmare back, but only so much. And it was the idea that there was like a chasm of darkness beneath it, and then later on we went into the Rift of Uln as we confronted Xavius. There has been the idea that the Emerald Dream actually originates from Azeroth itself. The question became, like, did the Titans create it? Did Freya tap into it, or did she create it? And then the speculation rose up, or the idea rose up, that Azeroth dreamed the dream, and that is their Emerald Dream. But then, you gotta wonder, how does that comply with what we've seen in the Shadowlands? And by that I mean, in the Shadowlands we saw spirits from all over the place, right? And said spirits in the Shadowlands in Ardenweald recover and restore themselves in those pods with anima. And then they go back to the Emerald Dream, as far as I'm aware. So how does that connect with this being potentially Azeroth's dream zone? Does that mean all the world's souls dream about the Rift of All and the Emerald Dream? Is it like a dream realm that we all go into? Because there's also, like, when you dream, you just go into the Emerald Dream. Curious how they're going to make that into a thing. There's also the roots and all the world trees that are out there. And what's interesting is that one of the world trees actually touched Yogg-Saron's subterranean prison, which caused the whole Emerald Nightmare thing to begin. Interesting bit there. I thought the Emerald Dream was a construct of them, where you have to step over for the followers and the elf who become Whis. One dream of the many dreams, maybe. A dream within a dream. Undreamt God for that single boss raid in Harrenir. Yeah. So I'm guessing that one boss raid is going to be in direction of something that Azeroth dreamed up on. And the followers of the Harrenir that have given up worshipping their goddess in order to protect them are actually trying to hold like the line against the Nightmare Creature. And so we'll have to go in, wipe out the Nightmare Creature, and, I don't know, secure their allegiance or something.